Sonic Force's Moment of Truth comic. This better be good. We start out with the OC avatar of Sonic Forces narrating that he's always wanted to be as cool and heroic as the main Sonic characters, but he's realistically afraid and opted for lookout duty to be away from the fighting, and feels guilty about it. The Chaotix arrived a few days ago to help organize their defenses, since we all know that the Chaotix know how to do that, with their brilliant military strategy training as detectives. Actually, I'd expect Tails to be in charge of that if he's so smart. And it'd be really embarrassing if the comic went with the badass DK that everyone hated in the games for Tails. Hopefully Vector will be as smart as he was in the last universe arc of Archie, and so this will make more sense. Cause why them in particular? It seems like they're just picked for this at random, but whatever. For some reason, the OC wondered if he should leave, when obviously he wouldn't be getting in the way as a lookout. And it sure is lucky that he didn't leave before he had to alert people that Eggman was attacking with his giant mecha. Vector's prepared, and Espio tells some guy to take his unit to the main gate. And Vector tells the OC to get down here and help shore up the defenses, calling him Rookie instead by his name because he doesn't care about him. The OC can't lift something because it's too heavy. I knew I'd find a plot hole eventually. Why is he being expected to do this instead of Vector, when Vector's known for being unusually strong? There has to be a reason he was a power type in Sonic Heroes. And Archie even established that he spent some time bulking up to look this way. I'm not even sure why a lookout would be expected to do anything to shore up the defenses. He already did his job. And at least the story's succeeding in making the OC sympathetic. Even if he looks bad, because I can't tell what species he's supposed to be. And it's a really cheap and easy way to make a character look sympathetic. And it's good that the narration is just that, instead of him actually saying this monologue out loud, which would be confusing and tacky. He's given a weapon to help the 2nd Division, but he doesn't know how to use it, and he sends fire near Charmy, who screams in pain, and we see him burned. But somehow, he only looks at him annoyed in the next panel instead of continuing to scream and freak out. That's another plot hole then. Speaking of that, the only way he could have activated that fire is if he pressed the button intentionally. Why would he aim it at Charmy while doing that? How could he manage to screw that up? It's not like Charmy was busy fighting and suddenly got in the way when OC was trying to aim at a robot. It's really hard to get invested when all you're calling a character is OC, and you have no other choice. It makes sense that Espio gave him the weapon because he had no reason to think he would screw this up. So that's the 3rd plot hole. Someone says it's coming down, and some robots with no charm in their designs at all try to shoot lasers at them. And the Chaotix plan to attack them in a lazy white background, while Charmy realistically stills in pain. Vector starts fighting and says that somebody should launch the bombs at that battleship, as the robots haven't gotten to the artillery cannon yet. So OC thinks that if the cannon's clear, he could arm it and fire it safely, and he runs away while holding a green thing, and puts it into the cannon to damage Eggman's battleship so much that he gives up in one measly shot. So the story's finally over, and it's only 8 pages long. It's pretty underwhelming. You'd think he'd have to fire at it a lot more. But I guess Tails was competent enough to make that bomb thing that powerful. We can only hope. Vector wants to get to work on organizing an evacuation. I guess because some robots are still there? Vector and Espio thank the OC, with Vector saying that that easy looking shot was 1 in a million. I guess because it hit the launch bay, and it's really that important that one hit makes him go away already. I'm not sure why I'm expected to take Eggman seriously anymore at that point. The first issue of Archie had Eggman be way more capable than that. He showed off that he enslaved an entire crowd of people, and Sonic couldn't do anything to undo that. All he could do was run away. Here he's beaten and lured away from a town in 1 issue. Charmy says that OC was so cool that he'll forgive him for burning him. You know, it was common sense for the OC to be given a name at the start of the story. He would have said his name in the narration. But that'd be average writing for the vast majority of franchises in existence, so don't be ridiculous. Having high standards. He thanks Charmy and says sorry about burning him. and Vector walks away wanting to get the villagers someplace safe. So why don't the villagers already know how to get to the safe place? Wouldn't the town have a bomb shelter at this point and everyone would have been trained in how to get there? Also, what is the name of this town? Every other Sonic comic doesn't make this mistake, so that's really lazy. Even when Archie established a new town that only existed to be defended, it gave it the name Furville. At the very least, he could have put in the effort to give this place a name. The least he could have done was name it after a city he's heard about. That'd do a little bit more to make you care about the town, instead of just think of it as that place full of buildings that's only there to be defended. Having a story where the main character in the setting he's in doesn't even have a name seems like something that'd be completely unheard of. This issue is by Ian Flynn. Okay, it was alright to go through. The Coward OC got me invested because he was at least feeling guilty about it the whole time. It's about the Chaotix defending a town from Eggman's robots. That's a pretty easy plot to come up with though. The only thing that's new and refreshing is that it's the Chaotix in particular doing that. So the Chaotix defend the town from robots, and the OC Avatar shoots a bomb at Eggman's airship to destroy it in one measly hit. I found a bunch of problems with the issue. It definitely could have had more effort put into some basic fundamental things, like telling us this guy's name finally, which is what kept me from caring enough to call it a great story. It would have really contributed something if it finally established this guy's name, and that would have left an impression. But those were minor things in the overall plot, I suppose, in a story that was mostly about main Sonic characters being competent for once. The only idiot ball was that forced fire screw-up, and somehow Charmy was able to keep being useful in the plot after that instead of instantly needing to go to the hospital and not feeling like doing anything but screaming. Oh, he's so brave! Yeah, there's a limit to that though. He could have simply had rings protecting him, but there wouldn't have been any real consequences to his screw-up if he wasn't actually burned. But if he wasn't drawn to be burned afterwards, and he didn't have dialogue about it, then there won't be any consequences anyways. Which is why the idiot ball isn't that big of a deal, because it doesn't affect the plot. This comic really doesn't interest me. This story was kind of interesting because it seemed alright at first, but it's so much like a game that I've already heard about. Don't be surprised if I do a lot of procrastinating on this kind of comic.